Assalamu alaikum and welcome to my channel. I'm Ruba and today I will be answering some of your tatreez questions. So I got a few questions, but before I answer them, I would like to start by thanking all of you for your constant support and encouragement. I received a lot of positive messages over the years from you guys, whether here on YouTube or on Instagram. So thank you. I really appreciate all the kind words that you're sending me. It makes me really happy when someone tells me that they started tatreez by watching my videos, or they learned to do tatreez from my videos, or they are now encouraged to do like their own work and sell it because of the ideas that I shared with you, or asking me for more videos because they want to learn more and more. So I really appreciate it, all your kind messages. It's not something I take very lightly, so thank you. I'm really grateful that you guys enjoy these videos and you stayed with me for so many years. I know I've been on this platform for a very long time, on and off, but you guys just stayed for the whole thing. So thank you so much. I also got a few requests for new videos ideas. I got requests for doing more traditional tahriri designs. I also got some requests for some of other like tatreez stitches and projects on them. And I got a request for a stitch along too. So inshallah we will be doing all of these in videos, in future videos. I also think that we might take a break for a week or two, and then I'll come back with the second part of the series where we do more of the tatreez stitches, how to do them, and then do projects on them. But we will also continue doing projects on the stitches that we already learned. So the idea of stitch along is for sure coming, inshallah. I'm just cooking some ideas. Alright, so with that, let's jump into the questions that I got for this video. So question number 1. How to know what needle size to use for each Ada fabric count? Well, we talked about this on our video about tatreez needles, but here is a quick chart for needle sizes for each fabric counts. Now keep in mind that if you want to use a smaller size needle or a bigger size needle, it's fine, but it might make your thread fray faster if you are using too small of a needle, or if you are using a bigger one, it might stretch your fabric holes more than necessary. And we talked about all of this on the tatreez needle video, so you can go back and watch it if you want to learn more details about that. Question number 2. Can you share some thoughts on working with ombre or color shifting threads? Okay, well, variegated threads are threads that are dyed with either different colors or different shades of the same color. Now, when we use these threads, the question becomes, how do I stitch with them without having my design looking like blocks here and there? So, if we are using embroidery thread size 8, which we typically use in Palestinian embroidery, then you want to pay attention to how you cut and use that thread. So for example, if I start stitching with light color and then the dark shades, or the one color and then the other color, the second color kind of, then when I'm done with that thread and I would want to start a new one, I would do the opposite way. So if I started with light and finished with dark, I would start with dark this time and then finish with the light, and so on. But I also guess that it depends on the vibe or the effect that you are going for with your designs. If you want to intentionally, for example, place these different colors in certain areas in your design or different shades, then you can cut each of these separately and use it as you want, or like in the places that you want, or you can just cut the thread and have the effect of the thread kind of give you the final variation of your design. It's really up to you. Now, some people recommend that you do stitch by stitch because you obviously would have more control over the look of your stitches that way, because if you're doing like a whole row or a whole column of half stitches and then you going back on them, you might end up with a scenario where you have the bottom half stitches in one color and then the top half stitches when you go back in the different color or different shade, and some people don't like that effect. So it really depends on what you prefer and how you want to use it in a way. So I would say that each has its own looks or effect on the design, so choose what works best for you. Sometimes, in my opinion, just following what the threads has to offer and have that variation in the final results is good. And sometimes I would like to have more control if I'm working on certain designs, so it really depends on the design and the final look that you are trying to achieve. Now, if you are using tatreez floss, which is size 25, we would follow the same things that I mentioned earlier, but I also would recommend not to use the loop method with that thread to secure your thread in the beginning, because when you fold your thread, then you will end up with two different combination of the color in the same kind of threads, which will create kind of like too much variations in the design. So I would avoid doing that. In this case, I would use other ways to secure my thread and would use the thread as it is, so to minimize kind of the amount of variation in the colors while I'm stitching. So these are just a few quick thoughts on using variegated threads. Question number 3. How do you put the threads through the needle? Well, it looks like you are struggling to get the thread through the eye of the needle. And in this case, maybe you are using a smaller needle for your thread. Maybe your thread is thicker than what the needle that you have can handle. So for that, I would check the size of the needle and the size of the thread and see if they are compatible. Obviously, you need your thread to go easily in your needle for the most part. Also, if you are struggling to thread your needle, not because like the size or the thickness of your thread, but just in general, there are tools that help you thread your needle, so you can get one of that and use it to thread your needle that way. Yeah. Question number 4. Do you have any recommendations for Tahriri books that covers the meaning of Tahriri designs? Well, unfortunately, there is no Palestinian books that focuses only on Tahriri stitches or the motifs that are used for it. Most of the mention on Tahriri stitches are usually in Palestinian embroidery books that focuses for the majority of it on the cross stitch, which is the more common stitch in Palestinian embroidery. So up until now, I don't have any book that I found that talk specifically about Tahriri or the meaning of these traditional motifs that they are using. And last question, question number 5. Which threads are typically used in Tahriri? So typically they would use metallic and silk cords. For the metallic, they use gold and silver mainly. And some women would make actually their own cords by spinning 2 or 3 threads together to create the cord. So you can, for example, take 3 threads of the size 8, the DMC size 8 that we are using, and then spin them together into a cord and then use that for your Tahriri stitch. So this is what typically is used. That doesn't mean that you cannot use other threads, but you can always try and experiment. But usually you want a little bit thicker than just the size 8 to show the design and to make it kind of easy to shape the design that you have. So yeah, so that was the last question. And with that, we reach the end of this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to share and subscribe. And if you have other questions, please leave them in the comments down below and I will make sure to answer them as much as I can. And if you have other recommendations or ideas that you would like us to do together on this channel, also leave them in the comments for me. And I will see you in the next video, inshallah. Bye bye.